And now here's one for all of you strangely attractive fish lovers out there. That's a reference that people on my other channel will get. Anywho, hey everyone, it's me, Aaron.
I'm Michelle.
This is back to Thorgiween, which we're reviewing horror films all month long. And this is our Universal Monsters theme week. I won't put a big asterisk there because there is one film that we're going to watch that is not Universal Monsters, but it's in the same ballpark. But today we're reviewing the final Universal monster to appear. Because all the other Universal monsters, it's so weird to me to think that this was considered like an entire era of movies, because so many of the other Universal monsters appeared in the early 1930s, and then they went throughout the 30s, maybe a little bit in the 1940s. The creature from the Black Lagoon did not appear until the 1950s. And I know that in all of our minds these days, we're looking back and it's like, it's that whole black and white period in there. The MCU has not even lasted as long of a gap as this was from the start of the Universal Monsters to when this film came out. Like, this is crazy to me, thinking that it's all being lumped into the same thing, especially because, Wolfman, Frankenstein, Dracula, Mummy, those are all pre-existing concepts out there. Pre-existing stories that got adapted or myths and legends that got adapted. The Gillman is 100% a original creation. And you watch this and you think about how it was made in the 1950s, it definitely feels different from a lot of the other Universal monsters. And now that I know that you have not seen a lot of the other Universal monsters, it makes me realize this should not have been the second film that we watched for this. But you think about those 1930s Universal monsters, and it was far more gothic. It was playing into a lot of older stories and myths. Whereas this one is very much the 1950s sci-fi monster creature. And it feels like that.
Yeah, and I kind of like that.
I dig it too.
Yeah, it's like, I know it's like a different vibe, but like I kind of feel like this movie kind of matches like the vibe of the Universal monster movies from the 30s to the sci-fi horror movies of the 50s. It's like that little bridge between. It's
a very interesting stop in between the two of them.
Yeah.
I agree with you on that, because this does have a lot of the similar things that you would see in those classic creatures, and also big rubber practical suit in here, like reminds me a lot of like the Wolfman and Frankenstein in there. You can definitely there's a reason why Gillman was depicted side by side with those other Universal monsters. He fits right in there. But you watch this film, and so many of those other films were someone going, yes, that creature out there, it's so terrible. Don't you go and talk to that man up in the castle out there. Or we're going off to Europe because this was made in America in the 1930s, and we were afraid of all the other countries out there. So, yes, that terrible thing is existing over there in Europe, and oh, goodness, the people over here are strange with their own customs and traditions. Whereas this one, it is all science. It is science. We love science. We talk about science all the time. Like, there is so much of guys walking around going, well, these creatures have existed since this time period. We're going to be studying these rocks. And when you crack them open, you can see the nutrients inside. And that leads into this over here. And that leads us to thinking about this over here. And could this creature possibly have existed here throughout all this time without us ever seeing any of this? And yeah, there's a bunch of very stereotypical 1950s dudes walking around in here. Constantly saying each other's names too. Granted, this is me we're talking about, so I still forgot all their names. But there came a moment in here in which I was like, these two guys start every sentence with Dave, Mark, Dave, Mark, Dave, Mark. Hope that was their names.
Yeah. David
and Mark. Yeah, same thing. I always have my cheat sheet over there. This is so that feeling of 1950s science monster in here. And I will say this. My voice cracked for no reason there. I will say this. Thinking about the world in which we live now, as corny as this film is, there came a point in which I just sat there and went, God damn, I kind of miss when science was cool. I kind of miss when you would just have guys on screen just talking about, here's what we do in the world of science, and it's awesome. It's the greatest thing you've ever seen. Science is amazing, everybody. And now today we got like politicians who are like, don't pay any attention to science. Fuck science. Science is terrible. Get all that out there. And then you have big corporations going, science is great as long as we can use it to build theft machines that take all your data away from you. Oh, like I miss this. Like I got so nostalgic for an era I didn't fucking live in. Watching this movie, just being like, oh God, remember when everybody thought science was the shit? Remember that?
Let's just binge watch Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Yeah, god damn. Man, yeah, I miss it. Okay. But yeah, this thing is very much focused on science. Also very stereotypical of both the Universal monsters and this time period. There's only one woman in the entire thing. But they go to the Amazon and they are exploring because somebody down there found a skeleton with fins on it and like claws on it, something they had never seen before. So they go down there to explore and they're taking samples down there and they're listening to the most stock jungle sound effects you have ever heard in your life. Every stock jungle sound you've ever heard from anything is in this movie.
Yes, and I find it so hysterical because this is in the Amazon, and yet they're playing stock sound effects of kookaburras. And those birds live in Australia, so yeah. It's like
nobody knew.
No one knew back then. It's like, ooh, this sounds weird and exotic.
What are you gonna do? Get on a plane and go down the Amazon yourself? Fuck you, eat your popcorn. You don't know. Okay, so sound effects, full stock. But the location that they're shooting on, I don't know if this was actually, like, filmed.
I actually looked it up.
Oh, thank God.
They filmed it in Florida.
Okay.
Yeah, because, like, I was looking at the backgrounds, and it's like, this looks like the Everglades, so I'm gonna check this. And it's like, oh, yeah, this is filmed in Florida. Like, I forget the name of the specific area, but they specifically filmed in this area for, like, underwater scenes because the water is so clear that they'd be able to, like, get nice shots and everything.
Because that was the other thing that I kept wondering throughout all this, and normally I try and look this stuff up before these reviews, but I forgot to for this one, so thank God you did. You got my back on this. But yeah, I kept looking at all the underwater scenes. I was like, that does not feel like it's being done in a pool.
No.
That does not feel like they built like a little like indoor pool to make it look like the outside, because there's so many just plants and dirt being kicked up in these scenes. It feels like they're actually filming these underwater. And for a thing in the 1950s, that's impressive now. These days, again, you just film indoors because it's like, well, we can't control what's going to be under that one. We can't make sure that we get all the shots that we need that way. It's like, no, that's really impressive.
Yeah, and of course, like, the other sets are, like, in California, like, you know, this lab and everything. Yeah. So it's like, it's not entirely filmed on location.
But I mean, yeah, they almost everything in the 1950s was filmed in California. There were very few on location things filmed outside of that because movies were still so new back then. I mean, granted, movies have been around since the 1920s, 1910s, but they didn't become like the big thing that they are until like around the 1950s, where people started going everywhere else to film in locations.
Nowadays, every movie is filmed in Vancouver.
On a green screen. God damn, this movie is making me depressed. Okay. So, they get down there, and they get attacked by this creature, this gill man. And part fish, part man. Amazing suit. It's really impressive. Like, watching it now, I had seen this film when I was a kid, but back then I was just kind of like just swept up in everything going on. Actually looking at it deeply to like analyze it now, I was like, God damn, there's so many details.
Yeah, like every time he opens his mouth, his gills flare up.
Yeah.
So it's like, wow, that's really impressive.
I don't even know how they made that happen.
The small details like that is like really, really great.
And also just like little tiny things, like there's a moment which you see his feet walking around. And he's got like the, again, like, you do not need to go that hard on the feet, but there's so many little details in that. It's like, God damn, that's impressive. And to me, what's really stunning is he's actually getting in this suit and swimming around in the water. There were two different stuntmen, one for when he was on land, one for when he was in the water, which I find that so interesting because I'm like, the water guy, I understand why the land guy would be like, I can't swim in this thing, but the water guy couldn't walk around in this thing? I don't know.
I think it's like, because of like what the suit is made of. They needed like a separate suit specifically to be for the water.
That makes sense. Okay.
Also, the stuntman for the underwater scenes was a lifeguard, so that would explain why he's so good at swimming.
Rico Browning, yeah. One of the, I think he was like the last surviving Universal monster. He just passed away like 3-4 years ago or something.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he lived a long time. I mean, goddamn, if you can swim around in that suit, you're healthy.
You are a legend.
Yeah. Also, for all my Darkstalker fans out there, he is who the fishman in that game is named after, Rikuo. Yeah. So anyway, this film, they get down there, they get attacked by the Gill Man, and the Gill Man kind of falls for the one woman in the film. Her name was Kay. Yeah, Kay. Which I will say, I shouldn't say this in front of my wife right here, but damn. This thing films her in a listen, I know that every woman back in 1950s movies were like, well, you need to be a star, darling. You need to be made to look the most gorgeous that you possibly can. She doesn't even feel like she's being shot at the same film rate as everybody else. Like, she looks like she is like crisper than everyone else in those shots. And it's because they just clearly like, we need to make sure that we light her just right, get the makeup just right, get everything on her just right. Meanwhile, the boat captain, the first 5 scenes that he's in, the camera isn't even fully focused on him. And there's one moment in which I was like, okay, geez, something is just up with this guy. I don't know. I think they're just trying to make this guy look dirty or something. But then there's one moment in which there's a bunch of the scientists just standing around talking. Then the boat captain walks in and starts talking to them, and suddenly the shot gets blurry. And I know that's just because the shot was made for the 3 guys standing there, and then when he came in, they
had to adjust.
They tried to adjust and they didn't do it quite right because it wasn't automatic adjustments back then. You had to adjust manually. So it's clear they tried to move it just a tad, and they shouldn't have. But I just laughed because there's 3 shots of the boat captain before this, and they're like, that's slightly not focused, right? And then the moment he pops into a scene with other people, it also becomes unfocused.
It's we don't focus on ugly people, only beautiful people.
Yes. Sorry, we need all the focus for Kay. But
seeing an amazing pretty vision.
Yeah, kind of. Listen, I have no shame in admitting, no, that woman's beautiful because this film is we are going to make her look like the most attractive person you have ever fucking seen.
And I will agree, she is hot.
She's hot. But yes, the fishman comes up and immediately starts trying to kidnap her. And it's not I think about other monster films where the monster is kind of in love with a human woman and they're constantly focusing on them. But there's always some kind of a build up to that or something. The most we get is there is one moment early on where she's standing by the shoreline and you see a hand come up about to grab her and then she walks away and then the hand retreats a little. Which, by the way, all I can think is, how did the monster know that she left? The monster's head wasn't above water. He can't see that. He was just I'm going to grab... I guess if he was leaning way back in the water, he could have seen her up there or something. I don't know.
I was thinking echolocation, but that works underwater.
There's a lot of myth that around the Gill Man that you could build into. Does he have echolocation? How does he function on land versus water?
Eat? Does he sleep?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, the Gill Man becomes obsessed with just trying to kidnap her. But there's no build up to it at all. No yes, this monster has been watching her and secretly fallen in love with her. It's like King Kong in a way. No, she's just hot. So the entire audience is yeah.
I mean, there was that entire scene where she's swimming in the water and
I guess that would be.
And he's looking at her from above while hiding in the seaweed.
I guess that would be the scene where they established that he's fascinated with her. I guess that counts. In my mind, he was no, he's already going for her. But I was no, that is an appropriate establishment scene. All right, that works. I'll give you that. Because without me counting that, in my mind, I was just the movie just wants you to know she's hot, so of course Gilman wants her. But no, you're right. There's the establishment of who's this creature that's swimming around? I've never seen anything like that. I can get, okay, I understand. I'll give you more credit than movie. But all the other science guys are just like, we must instantly kill this thing, and we must take it back to civilization.
No, at first they were like, oh, we must keep it alive or something like that.
One of them is like, we must keep it alive. The other one, who was the guy at the beginning of the film when everybody's talking about like how great science is with all their pipes hanging out. He's the one guy's like, gentlemen, I know this is amazing, but we must think about money. We must think about like how
he's the bad guy
which in all fairness,
and only cares about money.
Which in all fairness, yeah, you have to fund all this shit. That is a thing. Fair
point, but
you have to make money. Today's episode is sponsored by Raycon. By the way, I will not turn down a Raycon sponsorship. Not on this channel. That ain't happening. The other channel, though, just saying. Raycon, hit me up. But yeah, you have to make money in order to keep this stuff going. I understand. So he doesn't come off as like that evil. And he's also like, yes, science is great. I agree with you on that. But the moment they get there, all the other scientists are like, this is the most amazing discovery ever. We must take it back alive. And he's like, I must destroy that thing. So immediately, like the borders are set of like, everybody's on this side, he's on that side. And from there, it's kind of them just sitting in the Black Lagoon attempting to capture this thing. Like, there comes a moment in which the film just kind of stops moving, just like the boat. The monster sets up a dam and blocks them inside the Black Lagoon. And so then they just try a couple things to catch it, try a couple things to escape. They're just there, waiting for the movie to go on. That's it, and that's when the movie kind of died down.
I think the monster built a dam after they try to get him. Yes.
That's what I'm saying. This is the sequence in here of like, they're just in the lagoon, they're trying to catch him, then the monster traps them inside the lagoon, still in the lagoon, still trying to capture him. That's the movie for...
I mean, they did catch him at one point, but somehow he broke out off screen.
Yeah, off screen. Yeah, like the second they stopped paying attention to him in the cage, which I had questions about that cage. I could not make out what it was because he was still in water, but he was in some kind of a cage. Hello, plane outside. He was still in a water, so like, did they have a tank inside?
Like, I don't know, like, you know how fishing boats will like have like an area where like they would keep like water for the fish so they don't like die.
I guess
I think that's what's happening.
That must be it.
Because like, yeah, this is a fishing boat.
It is, yeah. And I will say, so many of the science guys in here just blend together to me. Like, I honestly forgot who some of them were in this thing.
I don't think you really need to know anything. It's like
just science guys.
Yeah, like the good guy, the bad guy who wants to kill the monster, and the lady. Those are like basically the three characters you need to know. And the captain, but he's not a scientist, so he stands out a lot.
I was about to say, it's like, man, if you ask me, aside from Kay, what's my favorite character in here? It's the boat captain, because he's the only one like. He's the only one I look at and be like, ah, yes, you're different. Also, there's the older science guy who was talking about like learning from minerals and stuff. He's kind of different. And I think it's mostly just because he's like older.
Yeah.
Whereas all the other guys are like the exact same age, exact same body type. One of them's blonde, one of them's brunette. I think there was another blonde one in there. Like, it's very much a cast of a 1950s
very
science
1950s.
monster film. Like, after this, if you picked all these actors up and said, okay, now you have to go and investigate where are the world's alien ships that just crashed down. Like, yeah, they'd fit right in there. No one would blink. No one would bat an eye at that. But yeah, it's hard to continue talking about this film because I find the setup interesting. I don't find the actors to be that memorable outside of Kay, but like I said, that's just because the film wants you to remember Kay. Like, they are spotlighting the shit out of that actress. And then the Gill Man is cool.
Yes.
And then the moment the Gill Man pops up, it's them, what if we tried doing this to capture the Gill Man? No, that didn't work. What if we dove into the water again to try and capture it? No, that didn't work. And like, all right, I guess we're just here now. You just kicked the tripod.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
It's fine, but now we're slightly off center.
Oh, do you want to fix it? Or okay.
It's fine. I just need to remember that for the next.
Maybe I can kick it back in place.
No, I would have to kick it back in place. Anyhow, yeah, it's man, I liked this film so much when I was a kid because I liked the Gill Man.
Yeah.
And I think it's just because he was so unique.
Right.
Like, everybody knows, like, vampires never did much for me because, like, there's 1,000 goddamn vampires out there.
I mean, they basically just look like people, but with fangs.
Yeah. I liked the Wolfman when I was a kid. I always liked werewolves. I always thought werewolves are cool, but I will admit that was mostly because of the howling. But the Gillman was so different from all the rest of them. And that really stuck with me. But going back and watching this now, I realize my tiny child brain blanked out like half an hour of this movie. Like, in my mind, Kay jumped in the water, swam around a bit, Gillman jumps up, grabs her, dives in the water, they go after her, stop the Gillman.
Basically, your mind, like, cut out all the boring stuff.
Yep. And I was like, in my mind, it went straight from Kay gets kidnapped after swimming around the water to they go and they fight the Gillman. And it's like, wow, I forgot how much nothing happens in the middle of this. Yeah, this is kind of a boring film when you get down to it. I hate saying that. I really do. Well, how did you feel?
I enjoyed it, but I think it's because, like, I'm a nature nerd and I just really enjoy, like, all, like, the scenery and the fish and the underwater shots and everything.
I will say, camera work in here is really good. Camera work in here, like we brought up earlier, it is stunning they got these shots in the 1950s.
Mm-hmm.
And it's stunning they made a fishman suit that someone was able to swim around in.
Mm-hmm.
That's incredible. Yeah, technologically, I think this is one of the most impressive of
I think that's another reason why I enjoyed this movie so much.
Yeah. But outside of that, there's not a whole lot more that I want to say in here. It follows very typical stuff. Like, the moment that there's the divide of we must kill the monster, we must fight monster, you know they're going to fight, and they're going to do the 1950s knockout where it's just smack. And man, we had to rewind on that. If you've never watched this, watch the moments they get into the fight. The knockout punch someone delivers, it's not even fucking close to his head. Like, it goes like...
It, like, almost hits another guy.
It does. I was like, oh man, I don't feel bad for you. I feel bad for that other guy in there. But yeah, anything else that you want to add into this?
Not really.
Yeah, all right. Well, come back tomorrow for another Universal classic. I don't know what we're watching for the first time ever. We're caught up in the reviews.
Although, wait, I will say it was funny how they literally tried to poison all the fish.
That was... We're scientists who care so much about nature. We're going to destroy this entire ecosystem to catch this thing. And I even made a joke of, like, if you did that to just try and kill, like, capture the one Gillman, you'd kill, like, all the other fish. And then immediately smash cuts to, like, the water is filled with dead fish. And they're just looking at it like, well, that doesn't seem to work. Scientists are assholes.
Especially back in the 1950s.
Yeah. But anyway, bye, everybody.
Bye.